This week, Jacob reviews his brand new Bose MI-E2 headphones. We take a look at in a laptop featuring dual 17.3-inch screens. We discuss the Roku, Dose, and smartphones for the battlefield. We discuss, and then finally, that's it. All this week on Gadget Gurus.
Gadget Gurus, episode 58. It's Monday, July 18th, 2011.
So, Jeff, how you doing today?
I'm doing super.
It's been a
Hold on. You gotta let me get it ready to go. I gotta change layers. And now the thing's locked up.
It's been quite.
It's been quite a Monday.
Yes.
I loved it. What was it last Monday when Joey was like, "Turn off the yeah," or somebody, or Boo or somebody, "Turn off the yeah."
I can't remember. I think it was on Tech Weekly maybe or something. I don't know.
Great.
It was hilarious.
It's good stuff. Good stuff.
So Jeb, you spotlighted. I think it was on Saturday because you got them on like Friday night or something. These the gadget that you're going to review today, and you talked about, hey, I'm going to be using these on the shows. And obviously he's not using them today because he has to show them to you.
These are my new in-ears.
Yeah.
It's actually embedded in my ear.
So, first of all, I mean, just looking at them, they come in that very nifty case there.
Yeah, very sleek and professional little tiny case here. And basically what you do here is you pull the zipper and you open them up and you pull them out. And here they are. Now, I showed them off just slightly on, what was it, Tech Weekly?
Yeah.
But we'll go into more detail of everything. So, these are the Bose MI-E2s in-ear earphones. The difference between these and the standard Bose in-ear headphones is this has the M in front of it, which stands for mobile, and you get this little thing here, this black thing here. That's a microphone and an in-call button, and you might not be able to see it, but there are multiple segments on here, more than what you normally have for stereo headphones. So, and apparently Bose has started their own little color scheme, just like how Apple had the white. They've started the zebra thing going on. That's
something I haven't seen from Bose, because when you think of Bose, you kind of think more of a professional kind of company.
But they're trying to make everybody know that they're wearing Bose headphones now. Yeah. So they've done this whole like zebra stripe thing.
I mean, is that something you have an issue with, or do you? I mean, I
don't care either way.
Because like the what are those? The Beats by Dre or something? They have the red one, like
with the gold chains
trim.
and bedazzled earrings.
Yeah.
But if you notice, they got these little like elf-looking things on there, and it's a really soft rubber. And what happens is, you put them in your ears, and let's see if I can show you. You put them in your ear, and that little thing goes in your ear, and it actually makes it pretty difficult to pull out. Keeps them in there. You can actually put this one in. And they fit surprisingly comfortable. Block out a lot of noise and stuff. But you can actually pull this up and be all like goober looking and be like But that's mainly for if you did it behind your neck. But yeah, whatever. So but it blocks out a lot of side noise and stuff where you can't hear. And apparently it sounds pretty good from what I've been told on a phone. It's made for the iPhone.
Yeah, I think it is.
It works on my HTC Evo, except the in-call button actually starts random audio playing.
Okay.
So
well, that's not, I mean, I was kind of surprised that the mic worked. I know that's a simplistic thing, but you never know what.
Leave it to Apple to like. They would probably like stick the mic section like on the other tip or something.
Yeah. So that design kind of just me being like a runner kind of person. Like I don't wear headphones when I run, but like I know a lot of people do. That design looked pretty nice for running.
Oh yeah, and a lot of people are starting to do that now.
Yeah, a lot of people like running with it.
I mean, like that style. Thing where it doesn't actually like shove into your ear canal and kind of like memory foam up in there or something, or a big rubber.
I think we finally figured out that isn't like quite so good. You know?
Yeah. It's good because you can still sort of hear things. When it's playing music, you don't really hear much of anything.
It's one of those isolations that you like. I know a couple people say they'll use like open ear headphones. That's what they're called because they give them too much isolation. Like if they're podcasting or something, they still want to hear some of the room noise.
Yeah,
and
I've used them to talk on the cell phone while I was driving, and it doesn't block out. I mean, it blocks out a lot of the road noise, but it doesn't block out any like the higher frequency stuff, like car horns or driving by or whatever.
Yeah.
But the road noise, it definitely helps block that out a lot. But I don't really use them much because, I mean, I don't keep them in all the time because I don't, do that.
I'm not too big.
But they also come with these two little guys. These will let you plug it into the smaller, 2 millimeter or whatever it is, plugs. And so you can actually plug these in like walkie-talkies or whatever, and still be able to use the microphone on them, and all that stuff. So
that's cool.
So that works out pretty good. That's nice of them to include those, even though they're designed for the iPhone.
So did those come with separate? I was looking this up on the internet and I couldn't figure it out. Did they come with separate in-ear like tip things? Or?
Yeah, they come with different size ones. I just did the ones that were already on it, and it fits my ear really good, so I just left them in there.
Yeah.
But they do come with different little size ones.
Usually they'll make bigger ones for people who have smaller ears.
I think they have the identical size.
That didn't make any sense.
Also, so that you can actually like, if you lose them or they got all broken up or something.
But are they all the same design? They're just different sizes, or
like the little arm thing might go more over or less or whatever.
And see, I kind of like that because remember we used to have the ones that hook behind your ear, and those weren't optimal. I mean, they did the job for keeping them in your ears, but I mean, they're a hassle to get off.
There's like no pressure point really on these. That like I said, the rubber on them is really soft, so you don't really. I mean, they're in there, but it doesn't feel like they're like shoved in your ear.
I got you. You know, like nice. Some of them, that's how they keep them in your ears. You're like, oh my gosh, like.
Oh yeah, well, like I had some that were like making like sores on my ears because I was wearing them too much. I'm like, you shouldn't get sores on your ears.
So I assume you picked these up at a local store.
Yeah, I got them from Best Buy for $125.
That's not bad for
US.
Yeah.
And
I know some of the monsters are about that price, and
but I was like, I would rather get Bose in-ears if I was going to get in-ears, and I don't want over-the-ear headphones because who's going to carry those around with them? You know?
I mean, I have found. I mean, these are like $80 headphones. I mean, they're not that expensive, but they do the job.
I'm just more looking at like personal use and stuff. The other thing that they do is it does have a little thing in there that increases the bass and resonant frequencies and stuff a little bit more. That's just cool. With the headphones themselves. You don't have to do it with your phone. So it makes vocals a little bit more boomier. So
I've found that a lot of the monster brands and stuff like that, especially nowadays, they want to go for all that bass, and I'm not a big fan. Like, I like some bass. I mean, you obviously need some bass. I mean, you want some bass to make your soundtrack sound good. I mean, that's how it's supposed to be. But like when you're, you know what I mean.
It
like,
makes it sound fuller, I should say.
Yeah.
But kind of like how. Like how I sound, but I've turned out some of my mids and stuff.
They don't overdo it, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
They don't fully overdo it, but it's still there, and whatever.
I do like the fact they include, because a lot of times those what am I looking for? A lot of times those, something like an iPhone headset, they'll have two different models. They'll have one model that say like made for the iPhone, and then the other one's like a little bit cheaper or something. But $125 really for a Bose headphones that include iPhone support, not too bad. So I mean, what do you had any complaints with them right now?
The one thing that I have noticed is that my phone doesn't output loud enough for these headphones themselves
So you gotta kind of
in an in call,
boost it a
but
little
it
bit.
does at certain times. It's weird.
Okay.
Like it almost takes in the ambient noise from the microphone and like lower. I don't know. It's weird.
This is one of those things that I kind of wish that kind of came together. What am I saying? Like, you know what I mean? Actually, what were we talking about? I completely
Talking
lost my
about
train of thought.
volume and stuff.
Oh yeah. Sorry. So that's one of the things that comes with Android, even though we love Android dearly, is because there's so many phones, it's hard for people to build. And I would like to see a standard, but the only issue is Apple's probably not going to apply.
The
to
weird
this.
thing is that it was actually opposite in other times, but like if I call a cell phone, it's louder with the headphones. When I call a landline, it's quieter with the headphones.
Okay, so it's not just your hardware.
It's the opposite when I listen with the earpiece, like just with the phone.
Yeah.
The cell phones are normally quieter, and the landlines are louder.
That's kind of weird.
So I don't know what it's doing. It's probably something to do with the resonance, and it's probably something with the actual landline. It's probably kicking out some of that resonance frequency and trying to cancel out some certain things to get the noise out of the line to make it sound better, which ends up cutting down the volume because it actually has this little chip in here.
Now, while you're getting those out, I know you've said that you don't like using... I mean, I'm not a big fan of keeping earphones in all the time, and honestly, I'm probably just going to put my phone up to my face if I'm going to talk on it. I'm not too big on
Well, see, like I'm
stuff.
driving it like during the day and stuff, and I drive for a long time.
Yeah.
And it works out really well. I was looking at actually getting Bluetooth earpieces, like the headphones, and then I was like, then you got to charge them, and I'm like, forget it.
That's the only thing with Bluetooth.
So I was like, I'll get me some really good Bluetooth or some really good headphones or earphones, whatever you want to call them, and do that. But this little thing right here, the shiny thing here, that is not only just this little splitter, but it actually is the bass booster. That's where all the fun stuff happens in there. That's also where they have the authenticated Bose serial number and all that junk. But
all right. So yeah, I mean, $125 for a premium pair of headphones, not too bad. And I mean, would you say?
They're really good.
Yeah. So you would say you're pleased with your $125?
Oh yeah.
Purchase. Okay.
And if I listen to more music than I do, they'd be even better.
Yeah.
I mainly got them to use with the phone, but also have headphones to be able to use to listen to music if I wanted to. The cord's kind of short, but I guess it's one of those just right for listening personally.
I guess you're right. I mean, this thing right here, these are made for studio headphones, and I can't do anything with these. This is one of the gripes I have.
This is a pretty long headphone cord.
But I know what you mean. I think you kind of want to
like a personal, I'm going to keep this on my body. I'm not going to put this across the room and listen to it.
Maybe enough, to go down into your pocket if you could. But I know what you mean. And I mean, these would also be good for if you spend a lot of time on a laptop. I know a lot of people are straying that way, especially with a MacBook Pro or something. They go with a fully mobile setup.
Yeah. Like if I was going on a trip where I wasn't driving or something, and I was just riding along, I would definitely put these in because it would count. I mean, it doesn't really have noise cancellation. I mean, it does in the sense of I don't know. It's difficult to explain. It's it cancels out some of the noise that you might hear coming in through your ears by putting inverted waves back out, but it does it all passively. It's not active. It's not an active system.
Okay, but it is a lot more
it's like the acoustic noise cancellation, not digital hardware doing it.
Stuff,
yeah. So I mean, it's a different little way of listening, but I mean, it works pretty good.
And honestly, I'm not too big on noise cancellation. I mean, I like it. I think these right here, kind of an in between where it cancels out some things, but I mean, you don't want to be completely isolated unless you're doing certain tasks. So, $125, you say it's worth it. Another great thing about having in-ear headphones is you can just throw them in a bag and you're ready to go.
And the other really good thing about having in-ear headphones is this. This is what I really like. And I've seen artists, like guitar people or musicians or whatever, do this all the stinking time. And also, if you don't want to have some fancy mixer, I've seen some live stream people do this before. You actually can take this, go like that, and go like that, and then go like that.
Oh, okay.
And I can still hear myself talk, but I can also
hear
whatever other thing I got plugged in or something.
That works.
If you don't want to have to go through the
I think you're right. I have seen a couple of drummers do that.
Complicated mixer thing.
Yeah.
Some people like to listen to some music track or something while they're have something else going on. Like what was it on Tech Weekly? My dad or somebody called, Bill called or somebody, and I just put my phone up to my ear without taking them out.
Yeah.
I mean, it'll pass through audio pretty well. So
pretty cool. All right, so I bookmarked some stories, and if you follow us on Twitter or on Google+, Eric sent me a link. Unfortunately, I already had it, but great link that he sent me. Every once in a while, I'll go on there and say, hey, do you guys got some suggestions on stories we should cover on mostly Tech Weekly, but I did it today for Gadget Gurus. And our first story here is the Roku 2. Engadget is reporting today that the launch could be just around the corner. Now, Jeb, a Roku is essentially... My dad's been looking into this because we really want to cut the cord. Because, I mean, we get, I don't know, a ton of dish channels and we maybe watch 5. And honestly, I know me and my dad could definitely go without cable, but it's going to be kind of a hard press for my mom. We're looking at Netflix. We're looking at... my dad thinks Hulu... I would just go with Hulu on the desktop. But if you wanted to pay for Hulu Plus, you could easily do that. And yep. Roku is one of the best inexpensive set-top boxes that allows you to do this. I mean, you can do all this stuff on your Google TV, but, Jet, let's face it. I mean, Google TV is not the price point that we both hope for. I mean, don't you think? I mean...
Well, I mean, I think they have... The hardware itself is fine.
Oh yeah, it's a good piece.
I mean,
of hardware.
I like the keyboard. The keyboard works good. I like the mouse and everything.
And that is one thing I forget.
And I'm talking about the review.
Yeah, the review.
So the other ones I haven't messed with, so I don't really know. I mean, they might be good. I don't know about the whole Sony.
Yeah, I don't really like that. The all-in-one kind of deal. Yeah.
Kind of like game controller feeling, but like with Google TV is basically software, so they can improve it however they want.
And I like that.
And they can push updates. So, I mean, it can become, the best thing ever if the market gets pushed and pressured,
Yeah.
So, as long as you got good hardware and, hooked up to your TV, I think you'll be good to go.
And that's the main thing with this Roku. They're not releasing quite yet what processor is in it. And I don't think with these set-top boxes that's really the key. There's not
and it looks like it might be running Android.
I don't think it is.
Because it says upgrading processors within are bringing Angry Birds this summer.
I think they're just porting Angry Birds to it. I'm not sure.
It probably runs something.
It probably runs a Linux-based operating system or something. But and the key thing here, the XD is their kind of... The XD is like their Wi-Fi. It's got wireless in. It's got HDMI. It's got all that. And it's only $80. And then if you want to go to the most high-end stuff...
It's only $20 more.
Yeah, and I like that price point. Don't you think? I mean,
yeah. I mean, that's a good roundabout price point for something that someone's like, I don't want to have to do a bunch of stuff, but I want something that I could get on the internet on my computer with, or something. So,
and this is what we're looking at is we essentially have 3 main TV. I mean, we have more TVs, but we have 3 main places that we all watch TV, and the fact is, $80 times 3, and that's like 2 months worth of our cable bill. You pay for that in 2 months, and you get... And my dad had an issue with this. He said, well, I can just sit down on my laptop. And I know that's how you are. You really like to sit at your desktop. I mean, you can... You know what I mean? I mean, and I'm not... I would rather have a sit-back experience on TV if I'm going to watch Netflix or something like that. And it's all personal preference. And I told my dad, I'll probably get a Roku box, and if you don't like it, then don't buy one, because if you can, if you can watch everything that you want to on your laptop, fine with me. But the Roku allows you, kind of like a Windows Media Center tries to, it does a good job. It allows you a setback experience, giving you all of the some of the functionality of what you could watch on the web. So, there you go. And faster processor. I mean, you can't gripe about that. Faster.
Yeah. So I mean, that they're doing the right thing. They're, making the form factor smaller, all that stuff. So it'll be interesting to see what they come out with because they need to get up in that market before everything else kind of hits in there too. So
yeah,
and get something really solid to be able to.
And Roku's got a pretty big name because they've signed some good content deals. They've got Blip.tv, they've got Netflix, they've got Hulu Plus. I mean, they were one of the first people to have Hulu Plus, so you got a good selection. $80. I mean,
and also, I like what Google TV was doing with the review, where it passes through to your your Dish Network and stuff. But you gotta. It
feels like two separate things, really. Like,
but well, it's not really two separate things. It integrates it pretty well. But what I'm saying is, you have to admit the fact. You have to come to the conclusion or whatever that in face reality that TV is going away.
Yeah.
Like set-top boxes, satellite TV. It's slowly. I mean, it's not 100%. Of course, it's not 100% gone. It's not even like 25% gone, but it's slowly fading away. People are starting to drop channels off of like Dish Network and stuff. You can't get certain channels on certain things anymore. There's a lot of web-only content now. You can get access any show you want to practically on the internet for free.
Yeah.
With just a couple ads. I really and truly think that's the way it's all going to start going, is just fully integrated internet TV.
Now, one question I have for you is, don't you kind of see this being integrated in your TVs pretty soon? Like the next, I think a TV has about a 4 to 5 at least year life cycle for most people. So
yeah, but I like the separate set-top box because it's like, nobody's going to be like, I just bought this LCD screen. Crap.
Exactly.
Now I got to go buy this other LCD screen to get this? What the crap?
And I think what a set-top box is it's an intermediary from people who are just bought an HD TV with comparable features to the newest ones that are coming out. They just have web access. And right now, Google TV, Roku, Apple TV, they have better interfaces than what Samsung's building into their TVs. Unless you get a Google TV, TV included kind of deal. But I'm a pretty big fan of the Roku, and I'm wanting to try out one, so we'll probably be getting one soon. And I guess we'll track it here on pbcasttv on how it goes for us cutting the cable.
Yeah.
So there you go. So let's go to our next story here. And at first I thought this may have been shown at CES, and I looked it up. It wasn't. But this is a really interesting, and it seems like an extremely niche.
I've seen something like this, though, already.
Lenovo has one. They linked to it here, but it's nothing like this. And
I mean, I saw something like this at CES, though.
Really?
Yeah.
I tried to look back because this looks like a product that come out of CES.
Yeah, I mean,
does it not?
I vaguely remember something along the lines of dual screens with a G or something. I don't know. This
is the G Screen dual screen. Wow, what a mouthful. Spacebook. It has dual 17.3-inch screens. Now, they're really high resolution, 1920 by 1080. And it's got a GTS 250 mobile graphics card with a gig of memory. But, I mean, look at this price point. Come on. $2,300.
No, $2,800. No, sibling.
Yeah. The entry level is 23, and the higher up level that gives you more, like a couple more gigs of RAM, is 28.
Yeah. The one thing that I see about this is that the screens look very flimsy. I don't care what you do in the hardware. It's just you only have half the screen being held by some kind of sliding track system. It just does not seem very, very practical. I mean, do you really need dual screens on a laptop?
Well, see,
are you really going to be doing something that requires dual screens on a laptop?
No. And if this is how I feel, this feels more like a desktop replacement kit. And why don't you get? I mean, there's so many people nowadays that run like this Dell I've got here. It's got HDMI out. It's plenty powerful enough to drive a 24-inch monitor or something.
Well, I mean, it feels like a gimmick.
It really does.
It's just like, oh, cool, haha. Look, my screen's come apart. Yeah. Oh, it's funny.
I mean, I don't think.
And
this
then
will make
I
it
got
in the
a
market.
screen that's this thick now because I have to have two screens on it.
And what do you look for in a laptop? You look for portability.
Yeah, portability, thinness.
I mean, this is the key that I always go back to is you want the most power with the most portability. I mean, sure, you can get an Alienware. I know that Linux Cypher was looking at some Alienware laptops. I'm not a big fan of Alienware laptops because it almost defeats the purpose of having a laptop. I mean,
Yeah,
I know
like,
it's great hardware.
There's like a phone too that does the same thing that you open up like
Yeah.
clamshell.
Oh,
and
yeah,
there's two screens.
It's maybe like Kyocera.
Yeah,
or
I'm
something,
like,
yeah.
why would somebody want that for real? Like, one screen is not enough.
Yeah.
You know.
And I don't know. I mean, if it's going to be a desktop replacement, you might as well either get a desktop because you can build a mad desktop for pretty much $3,000 if you went with. I mean, you could buy so much crap for $3,000 with nowadays.
Yeah. I mean, if you want a dual screen, but I mean, I don't know. I don't know why anybody would want portable dual screens. Like, I mean, what? The only thing that I would really be using dual screens for most of the time would be like
video editing.
Yeah,
something like
or
that.
I mean, I guess general browsing, but it's like, I don't know. I mean,
yeah.
Personally, for me, I don't do enough stuff at my house. I had dual screens for a while.
Yeah.
But I never really did enough stuff at my house. It was nice to be able to have this open and that open, but I didn't multitask that much to have for general use.
Yeah. The only thing I ever
Two
used dual screens with, because I ran it for a little while, is like having an IRC open on one side and a Twitter client. And honestly, I switch back to those when I want to look at them, you know?
Yeah, because, I mean, pretty much what you're paying for the second screen is the ability to not have to do Alt-Tab.
Yeah.
Or some, you know, I'm like, I got my hand right there all the time. I'm like, you know, Alt-Tab. Okay, I'm over here. Alt-Tab.
Yeah.
You know, and Windows 7 and stuff does such a good job at switching that it's just kind of like, I don't know.
Okay, I can justify having two screens because, I mean, what, $200? You spend $200-$300 on your desktop build, you've easily got I mean, you could almost, for $300, you could buy a $100 graphics card that does dual DVI, and then you get a $200 screen, you're done. And that's, I can see having dual screens on a desktop, but laptop, and this begs the question, how portable is this thing? Not very, looking at the pictures.
Yeah, I picture something being shaky. I mean, it's from G Screen. You know, I'm like, the company themselves is just for this laptop. You know, like, that just doesn't, I mean, I don't like this at all.
Yeah. And, I mean, I think it's pretty obvious this won't make it. I mean, who's going to buy one of these?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Probably somebody that has everything and wants
Somebody will buy it, but...
They'll be like, and they'll be on the airplane going, brrr, and then it's like all up in your screen.
And just
You're
think
like,
about that.
Get off my screen, you piece of junk.
You're talking about 34 inches or more of... I mean, you got to have 34 inches, or... I mean, it's going to be more than 34 inches of screen.
Well, I mean, you're looking at, like, a laptop that's this big, so add, much more.
And it's a 17-inch, too.
So,
not 15.
I mean, you're probably looking at a good, like, 24 maybe. I don't think it'd be...
It's
like,
17-inch screens, though.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But they're also, like, 16 by 9.
Yeah, true.
See, I don't like the way they do screens now, because 16 by 9, you're like, oh, but it's 17-inch. But it's, like, extreme 16 by 9. It's like...
Yeah.
It's not really that much bigger.
You don't get any vertical real estate whatsoever. You get a ton of horizontal.
A bunch of, like, unused space. I don't know. I don't like it.
Yeah.
So
yeah. All right. So our next story here is kind of an interesting one, and I want to get Jeb's take on this because Gadget reported that the U.S. Army is going to start testing smartphones for field use for multiple things. I mean, you know, they've had displays and all this other technology like tablets that have been proprietary to the government and stuff, and they're saying that it could be in limited deployment later this year. Now, this is kind of weird. I mean, okay, I would like to see something like Android or a Linux-based operating system. We've seen this before. I mean, some of the U.S. government tank operating, you know, the things that they use in the tanks for tracking stuff, they use Red Hat. That's what they track on there. I've seen some before.
Let me tell you how it actually is. The government likes to make you believe that they're very technologically advanced. Very, very, very small sect of the government is technologically advanced.
But the rest of it, yeah.
Pretty much 98% of the government is still running off of logic chips. I mean, we're talking about relays and like if this and that and this equals that, but just because that's the way they do it. I mean, it's not like some magical technology that just works. And it's literally, I mean, that's what you're, I mean,
Pretty much you're saying this is in the field to have non-proprietary developed. I mean, it sounds like a cool idea.
Reading that title. That guy's holding a piece of equipment that, he normally doesn't hold ever, is what I'm saying. The most technologically advanced equipment that he has is his gun that can just shoot bullets.
Yeah.
I
mean, it's an interesting take, but then again, you have to realize, I mean, how many people are gonna? I mean, you gotta think it's pretty unfeasible, but it's an interesting story.
I mean, you have it's just a lot of people think that the military is very, very technologically advanced, and all of it is. It's not at all.
Like
I see tanks go in and out all the time at work.
I mean, they're still using tanks that are from. Advanced. I mean, they just retired. Like literally, I heard this. They just retired some of the tanks that were used in World War II. Like they just put those. Like they had to say, we can't use these anymore. I mean, they weren't using them in battle, but they were still using them for testing.
I mean,
stuff.
It's they keep it simple, so it's easy to repair in the field.
And that's a good thing.
That's the reason why they keep it simple, because like if your radio is made up of a micro, processor, well, it's going to be really hard to reprogram your microprocessor in the field. But if it's made up of a bunch of logic chips, you can desolder a logic chip and put a new one in pretty quickly in the field, and not have to carry around a bunch of stuff. So, I don't know.
It sounds cool to say that our government, or not our government, our army is using Android or iPhones to do things, but honestly,
it's a very, 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 very limited deployment.
Yeah.
Just like the article says, is limited deployment. You're talking about less than 2%.
So this feels more like a headline story to say, "Oh, cool, technology in the army."
Well, they like to make everybody feel all special, like we have the latest technology defending our country, when it's a very, very small. And
it comes down to what gets the job done.
Yeah.
I mean, I would love to say that we're the most that it's so technologically advanced that we can't even imagine, but whatever. So our last story here, and I threw this in here because I saw it and I was like, dude, Jacob loves Arduinos, and Arduinos are pretty awesome, so we should talk about this. We've talked about a couple Arduino projects before. You've built a couple. One that comes to mind is what were you doing with that?
One that comes to mind is, what were you doing again?
Yeah. You've used a couple for
I've
multiple
done a ton
things.
of stuff with them.
Oh yeah. Didn't you use an Arduino for the useless machine, or not?
No.
Okay.
It's very, very simple. It's military simple actually. But Arduino has brought basically merged two devices together. And over here on their store, you can see the two devices. You have this Ethernet shield here, which is, they call them shields. These are little modules you can plug onto the actual Arduino. And you have the actual Arduino Uno is the latest one that they have. That's just the small form factor here. And what they've done is they've merged the two together into one Arduino Ethernet without PoE module. So that's basically what you get. That's the whole Arduino. That's the which you can't see anything I'm pointing to, but the chip in the middle is the actual Arduino chip, and then you have a place to put micro SD cards. The 6 pins on the top over there is actually the communication to program it. Power, Ethernet. These are digital ins and outs and analog in and outs. And what Nick was saying was that it's cool because they're basically making it to where this can be like a digital analog interface that you can just plug in on the network without actually having to get the extra shields and everything. And it's cool. I mean it basically still has the same features that you could do with the other without having to buy the extra shield. So it's, in a way, it's cheaper to get Ethernet, because before you had to buy the $30-something Arduino and then the $40-something shield, Ethernet shield. So I mean, you're already looking at like what is that, $70? And this Ethernet Arduino is only like $50,
which is not bad at all.
So you're saving a lot of money doing it this way. If you're gonna use Ethernet in there,
I mean,
Plus, you can
obviously-
still put other
Yeah.
modules on top of it, so you can stack them up and make some big, massive brick of Arduino things.
And Gadget kind of brings back an older story. I swear we talked about this. Maybe we didn't on Google I/O. Maybe that was the week you weren't here. I can't remember. But anyway, we talked about this, that Google had introduced their 80K, and it's like an open version for Android that allows you to develop for Arduinos. Because, I mean, you spotlighted it before. You can do anything from controlling a remote camera from an Arduino to streaming a blinking light.
when you actually add in a actual computational, smarter operating system into it, now you can do a lot more stuff like, download some whatever, or call somebody, or do some kind of webcam thing or whatever. So, it's really good that they're letting you interface those two together, because you can get a lot more powerful things done with it.
Yeah.
That can be automated with the Arduino software.
All right. I think it's cool that Google and Android decided to support our Arduinos, because I mean you've been a fan of the Arduino project for a pretty long time, and there's just so many things that you can do with it, and there's a huge community that deals with this stuff every day. I mean, if you want to learn more about this, we kind of spotlight some of the projects that could be used as an Arduino, and I think Jeb has had some plans before to do something like that on FabLab. Yeah. But if you want to check out more stuff like that, FabLab, another show we do Thursdays, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, live.pbcasttv.com. All right, guys. Well, I guess that does it for this episode of Gadget Gurus. As we said pre-show, there won't be any more PB at nights. We're thinking about redoing. Actually, more than likely, we're going to open up that spot. So if anything arises, we'll have another spot. And plus, we can hang out a little bit longer on occasions after Gadget Gurus, instead of just doing a show that we haven't prepared for and all that other stuff. So you can follow me on Twitter, twitter.com/thatnickjones, and check out my blog, nickjones.me. You can check out Jacob on Twitter, twitter.com/freakinghuge, FREAKHUGE. You can check out his blog, jroberts.me, which, once again, I try not to look at the stats every day, because I don't want to be like oh yes. But Jacob's blog pushes traffic regularly to our site.
I'm just saying.
I think it's that awesome graphic you have on there.
Oh yeah, that's what it is.
Everybody loves graphics. I would encourage you guys to join us live.pbcasttv.com. We've got a link to our chat room. And I need to put up some instructions, because I know a lot of people stop by here from the Justin.tv chat on how to download an IRC client, because a lot of people, we kind of forget about that, aren't used to IRC and stuff. So, anyway, guys, until next time, I'm Nick Jones.
I'm Jacob Roberts.
And this has been another episode of Gadget Gurus.